got the look. You got the look.
Welcome to episode 2 of How to Profit from Your Personality. Today's topic is You Got the Look, branding yourself. I'm going to share a few different tips that you might be able to use to do some personal branding of yourself and talk about why personal branding is important. A few years ago, I came across a program called Message to Money. And within this program, they had a segment called A Brand New You. So within this section, they talked about how to develop your personal brand and what a personal brand actually is. Think about your personal brand as the first impression that you make when people first come across you. Whether that's in person or whether that's them coming across your content online, there's going to be an impression that people are going to get initially when they see or hear from you. So what's key and what's important for you to keep in mind as the business professional here offering the product or the service is that you're in total control about how people, the image that you project and how you want to be seen. I'm very casual in the way that I work with my clients and the way that I do my business. So therefore, my personal brand is very approachable for a lot of people that I work with. People like that I can take things that may seem complex in nature when it comes to marketing or just doing business online and kind of make them simple. That's something that I've learned to do and something that I've developed over time. So I make sure whether I'm writing content or recording content like a video like this, that I have that same type of tone and that same type of approach because the people that I work with best and that I enjoy working with love that part about me. The other things in my personal brand is that I'm very direct, but I'm direct without being very rude. So sometimes people can take those things differently, but for me, it's about clarity. And my clients have complimented the way that, I can cut to the chase and get to the point and make things that they may not have understood had they been presented in a different way, more approachable or more digestible. So some elements of my personal brand, that I keep in mind is just I want to be approachable with people. I want to make sure that I'm communicating in a way that my clients understand. And then I want to make sure that I can help them take big, complex problems and break them down into digestible bits that we can tackle one at a time. So when you think about you and you think about your approach to business and how you do things, what are some of those elements of your personal brand? Have you even thought about it? Cold slap. When people hear the cold slap, that's a very direct and cut to the chase message. But that's what I wanted it to be. One more element of having a strong personal brand has to be the personal story. I remember when I started the cold slap, and my story was, I was at a point in my life where I was doing something that I was no longer enjoying, and I just kind of reached a low. Honestly, I reached a low. I was depressed, and I had to find a way to kind of bring myself out of that. I still loved elements of what I did, but I didn't like all of what I did. I still loved being able to help people, and I wanted to still be a web designer and do some graphic design work, but I really enjoyed consulting. So whenever I met people or whenever I went to an event, I would always kind of introduce myself as the cold slap coach, and that would always pique people's attention. And then I would then go into my personal story and talk about what my personal cold slap moment was and how I developed this program from my personal experience and from what I saw that my clients were going through. The cold slap is a result of that. So I always use my personal story. Within that process, a lot of people can relate to having a low moment in their life. A lot of people can relate to having a vision or the dream to do a specific thing, but not really knowing how to get there. So telling your personal story and sharing those moments that, in the time may feel embarrassing or maybe things that you don't want to share with people because you have this image of being this strong, smart person who knows everything and is always on point. Vulnerability, it can work in your favor sometimes when you do that. It allows people to get to know you. I'll never forget when I went to a workshop once and they were talking about building community and how the root word of community was common and unity. People who have a vision in common and they unite around that. And that just kind of made me think like, wow, if you really want to connect with somebody, when you really know somebody, you know their hopes and their dreams and their fears, like those are the people that we often bond with the most. And you have to choose those people carefully. You don't want anybody being in on all parts of that. But there's ways that you can kind of share a little bit about yourself that'll get other people talking a little bit about themselves, and together you'll find something to unite around, and you'll be able to kind of move forward from there. So another element of your personal brand, when you're branding you, when you are thinking about how to present yourself, don't forget about the power of your personal story. Because guess what? Only you have that story. Nobody else has your story. And I will repeat that theme constantly. Yesterday I talked about, only people have your friends and your family and your life experiences. Like, that's the stuff that makes us unique. And really, I think those are the things that we need to work hard to be able to wear on our sleeves and to be able to share with others when the time is right. When you can do it without feeling hurt, and you have the courage and you have the heart to be able to do so. I would have people come into me like, Mike, I just got laid off from my job and I need to find a way to make ends meet. Or I have this dream or this thing that I've always wanted to do, but I just never had the courage to do it. What I often saw in people is that we would wait until we were no longer had the choice to make the decision to build our dreams and to do the things that we want to do. We would wait till someone else puts us in the situation where we have to act. To me, that's the cold slap moment. When that thing occurs, when you get fired, when you get laid off, that moment in time right there when you're just like, I have to do something and I have to do it now, but I don't know what to do. That's the cold slap moment. My job as a cold slap coach is to help you get past that point, and that's what I developed my programs to help people do. Get past the point of shock and awe so that we can get to solutions and so that we can get you where you want to be. How do you define yourself? What is the title that you give yourself? For me, I am a cold slap coach, or the cold slap coach. I've taken something that is tied to the brand of my business and then made it a title for myself that doesn't always necessarily say exactly what I do, but it does get people's attention and make them want to know more. So that's the approach that I take. When you think about you and how you present yourself or how you introduce yourself to people, what title do you use? Are you a coach? Are you a consultant? Are you a specialist? What do you choose? What's important to know is that title, whether you like it or not, is something that people are going to remember. So make sure that you like it rather than not like it, because it's going to be something that people are going to associate with you. I don't mind being referred to as the cold slap coach. It has a ring to it. It speaks to me and what I do, and then it also piques people's interest. So as you're thinking about titles and as you're thinking about how you want people to see you, here are a couple things that you can keep in mind. If you can teach everybody you met one thing, what would it be? If you could only be known for one thing, what would it be? What are you doing when you feel like you're in a flow, at your best, and doing what you love? Ask yourself those 3 questions. Think about your answers. Play around with a couple of different keywords. And within that, you'll be able to find a way to be able to describe yourself, a title, something you want to be referred to as. All right, another key element of your personal brand is imagery. How do you present yourself? What do you look like? What picture do you use? How do you dress in your picture? There's no way around it, folks. Whether you're doing a video or you're doing a photo, people need an image that's going to get their attention. So think about how you show up. Think about how you present yourself. You don't have to be on fire every time, all the time. I don't think. I think there's also some good to showing people that, hey, I can be casual and I can be dressed down and cool too. But that depends on your brand. It depends on what you're doing. You want to think about that. Are your clients going to not take you seriously if they see you wearing some sweats? Are your clients going to feel intimidated by you if they see you wearing a 3-piece suit and totally done up all the time? You have to know your audience. You have to know the people that you're trying to attract, and you got to take those things in mind. What I usually recommend is that you maybe select a few different pictures that can kind of show you in these different styles or different elements. Something kind of casual, something very corporate, something fun, think about that. Think about how you want to show up. Book a session with a photographer. I'm sure there's some excellent photographers in your area who would love to do a session with you. You'd be surprised how many looks you can get within an hour or two of shooting with a good photographer. It's worth the investment. Thank you for tuning in to episode 2 of How to Profit from Your Personality, which is part of the Act Like an Employee, Think Like an Entrepreneur series. I want you to tune in tomorrow for part 3. Guess what our song is tomorrow? Kiss by Prince. And the subject is going to be keeping it surprisingly simple. I don't believe in making business complicated. I like business to be nimble and quick and simple for me. So tomorrow's topic, Kiss, keep it surprisingly simple, is going to be the topic. And I wish that you would come back and tune in.